For myself, one of the challenges that I've had to face is some of my fellow students are majorly influenced by the media's portrayal of African Americans and African American students. And I found myself representing all black or African American students. And that's a lot of pressure. I find myself kind of boggled down and shoulders are like always, I'm slouching a lot here. But that's probably one of the most challenging things that I've had to do as an African American female that's in higher education. To say I'm only one person and it's only my opinion. I don't represent the entire race of African Americans. It's very difficult because, like Ari was saying, there are only in most of my classrooms between 3 to 5 African American females, and of course he's the only male in our program. And, when they have a question about something that's African American related, or they have a suspicion, or they want to find out if this rumor is true, they seek us, and it's just like, I don't know. That's pretty much the consensus on the table. We're like, well, that's not what we do, but we can't speak for everyone. And that's very challenging because, like I said, I feel pressure to represent an entire race of individuals that I can't represent. I'm only one person. And so that could be a challenge. We're learning together. They're learning from me and I'm learning from them, not to have such outstanding expectations of one individual to represent an entire race. As far as group work or work-related activities, I thoroughly enjoy group work. I love it. It gives me an opportunity to hear, see, touch, feel the different ideas, different thought patterns, different cultural biases and things of that nature, to actually hear that from other students and to be able to give my ideas on the same subject is very rewarding and refreshing. So I thoroughly enjoy group work, and being that we're in the counseling field, group work is something that we will have to do, and we're doing now in practicum. Is very rewarding. I really enjoy group work because, like I said, I get to hear and hear from other students and hear how they think and what their thought patterns are and what their behaviors are and what's hard for them. And we have a saying in one of my group classes now that universality is a positive thing, and I'm learning that overall in the different types of group work that we do. So that's my thing. Thank you.
Something similar to what Cunette said that she represents the African American population. Similar is the case with me. I'm probably the only person who's different from everyone else in my department or in the graduate program in my department. And that sometimes is a challenge, yes, I should say. But I'm able to answer all questions they might have, especially because of the media that plays into it. They usually have a lot of questions to ask, not only about the religion, but also about my country and how education is there and about the literacy rates and stuff like that. And I really enjoy group work, as I already mentioned before. I like to take initiatives, and to the extent that one of my group members, she said that I've had a better experience working with you rather than my own fellows who are Caucasians. And I was really amazed at that fact, that how could she find it better working with me. She told me that she could trust me to do things, and I would give it to her on time, what I've asked her to do. and that was really surprising to me. And just something very particular to my culture and my religion, that I don't shake hands with the opposite sex, and that was sometimes a challenge for me. I can shake hands with females, but I don't shake hands with men, and that was a challenge with faculty members or people generally across the United States. And when I came to Eastern, there was a requirement of taking a photo ID for the Panther card and has to show your face on it. And I was a little apprehensive in the beginning, but then the international programs office staff and the people in telecommunications were really supportive. And they arranged a special time for me where a female could be there and she could take my picture, where I could easily take off my veil and have it done. And I found that uh, really supportive and really comfortable, where I was able to really feel comfortable in that sense. And one thing more just about the eating things that we have in our religion is just that we don't eat anything that we don't eat meat outside when we go. It's supposed to be slaughtered in a special way. So we usually eat vegetarian stuff, and it's sometimes a challenge to tell the other person who is doing so much for you, or when you go out to people to their houses or to a gathering, where it's very difficult for me to tell them that this is what I want. And that sometimes poses a challenge for me, but I found people over here very cooperative and understanding in those aspects. And lastly, it's just a female issue. When I started working when I was given the graduate assistantship position at Career Services, many people around the campus were telling me that it's a female place where, the whole staff is just female, and it's not a good environment to work with. And I was like, I don't think I'd buy into that. But it was the best experience I've had. That they're just continuing me on with giving me a supplemental contract since I was working with them. So I'm basically working on 2 contracts with the graduate school. So that's really encouraging for me.
Certain challenges that I had when I came here to Eastern. I guess the first thing was when I coming from the area that I grew up in, O'Fallon, like I said earlier, it's more of a military town. So we have a lot of diversity. And when I came here to Eastern, the first I think day they had some kind of thing in the quad, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and change clothes, go out there. Mom had left, so I was gonna go out there and enjoy the time. I went out there and it just seemed like people were grouped in certain sections, and by me growing up in a very diverse area, it was like, okay, am I supposed to go with the African Americans? Should I mingle around and talk to people? And then I was just, well, maybe they grouped up because they know each other from, living in the same area or whatever. Well, I ended up going to class that Monday, and it was that same way in the classroom. African Americans were sitting over here, Caucasians were sitting here, and other diverse groups were sitting just spaced out. And that was a challenge for me am I supposed to fit in with this group? Should I mingle around with this group? If I fit in with the Caucasian, am I going to be talked about? So that was just a big challenge for me in finding my place when I initially came to Eastern. And one thing that I thought of was, well, maybe some professors should mix it up a little bit or whatever. Who cares what people think? Mix it up or whatever. Also, being a quota or a deadline of friends, I find my friends so far, like they say, well, I'm not racist or whatever because I have 3 black friends. If you can count on your hand how many friends you got. I mean, with me, I can say, I have blah, blah. There's an unlimited number of friends that I have, and X out the races or whatever. I really can't tell. So if you, that's just a problem that I had. Also, in I guess classroom settings, it seemed like if I say something, either I'm hostile or I'm the entertainment or whatever. Or if you need a good laugh, go to DJ. I mean, which I'm good at that. So, but just it just seemed like I find that in most African Americans, they feel like African Americans are either going to be entertainment or they're either going to be hostile. So either they're going to be your friend or they're going to beat you up. Also, being like what I was saying, being singled out as being the representation for all African Americans. Well, do African Americans do this? DJ. And I'm like, I'm not for certain. My family doesn't do that. I don't do that. But, I guess if you look at the statistics, then most African Americans do that if you look at the statistics. So I'm pretty much in the same boat that they're in. just making assumptions or whatever until I really read it or look it up myself. I think that's pretty much. Okay, moving on.